back to the book. Alpha Company's commander, Captain Suginis, was in the trees, headed to where he had seen the battalion command group disappear. Just as I noticed a small clearing up ahead, I heard 1 or 2 shots to my rear, back where my 1st and 2nd platoons were. I looked back. There was a pause of several seconds, and then slowly all hell began to break loose. I remember we were reading the book by Ernie Pyle, and he talked about the expression "all hell broke loose" because we just heard it like 5 times.
Yeah,
and he's talking about how it gets overused, but it's real, and you can tell with these guys, it's just absolutely real that all hell is breaking loose. And I want to say this too, because I didn't mention this about McDade, who's the battalion commander. McDade is the battalion commander. He had just taken over the battalion like a few weeks before, and he had moved from some admin position inside the I don't know if it was inside the battalion or inside the brigade, but he had moved from like a sort of an administrative position into battalion command. So in other words, he wasn't in charge of any troops, and then all of a sudden he was in charge of troops. And then 3 weeks later, they're going into combat. Now, that being said, he also said that this guy hadn't been in charge of any troops in like 10 years. So he had apparently done his platoon commander and his company command in World War II in Korea. So McDade is an experienced combat leader, but he's out of practice. He's out of practice. And probably more important, or just as important to being out of practice, is he just took over. So part of being a battalion commander is that you train and prepare your troops for combat. You get to know all your men. You get to understand their weaknesses. You just can't jump in and take over and all of a sudden have the knowledge that you would have if you were preparing everyone. That's why training is so important. That's why we train. Yeah. So if you are not given the opportunity to train and learn your troops, you're at a huge disadvantage. And you haven't had time to train them up to your standards. You know, this guy was in World War II and Korea. He understands combat. And so to think that he wouldn't put his guys through a certain level of training to get them up to speed and make sure they do things like make sure that there's other people in the chain of command that can step up and lead, having a succession plan. So like him calling people forward, maybe if he had trained the battalion, he knew that there was other guys in there that would be able to take charge. He didn't realize that there was like a little hesitation there that was going to happen, which is what happens. Yeah. So he doesn't know his team well enough for this situation, and that's not good.